Form suggests Castleford are favourites. They're unbeaten in 11 games, but cup ties, as always, are unpredictable. Our commentary team at Headingley today: Alex Murphy, John Money, and first Ray French.
Yes, thank you, Bob, and welcome to Headingley. All bright and breezy here in Yorkshire for this first Silk Cut Challenge Cup semi-final. But the good crowd, spectators, huddled mainly beneath the stand to escape the elements, but they're certainly braving the weather, and the reason is that there's something special about this game, and it's the cup that's the speciality. 52 clubs started out way back in 1897 in search of that trophy, then named the Northern Rugby Football Union Challenge Cup, and now, 95 years later, at the same place, Headingley, the sights of Castleford and Hull very much focused on that cup. The snow, sleet, not quite. And Alex Murphy spoke a little earlier to two very nervous Australian coaches, both approaching this match in their own particular way.
Well, to me personally, it's another important game. Alex, you know, I'm not going to get bogged down with Wembley. We've got to get through this game against Hull today. The players know the importance of the game, so you know, there's not much nervousness in their team. It's shaping up very well.
Well, Alex, you know, it's probably it's the knockout competition in the world. It's probably the biggest rugby league thing that's known to man, I suppose. But you know, it's probably I want to go more for the players than for myself.
Well, Noel Cleal says he wants to go more for the players than himself, but I think if those two coaches, when they step out in Wembley, they'll realise what an English Cup final is all about. Castleford coach Darrell van der Velde returning the same side that has served him so well of late in the Championship, and certainly he knows he needs a strong side to face this big Hull outfit. He has Graham Steadman, very much the man in form at fullback. 30 tries this season, the league's top try scorer, and in Mike Ford and Lee Crooks, two of the most creative footballers in the game. They'll be looking to create the chances for that back three of Bradley, Ketteridge and Nichow. But the real task before Castleford is, can they contain this giant Hull pack? Aussie coach Noel Cleal has an embarrassment of riches. He selects Sharp, Walker and Busby as his back row trio, even leaving out the giant Welshman Mark Jones. But certainly much will, I think, depend on the two skippers there. Lee Crooks, the prop forward, Greg Mackey, the tiny, diminutive half-back. Both big hearts under those jerseys and very skillful ball handlers. They're the two midfield men who'll be creating the running chances. And both of these sides, in fact, used to semi-finals, but some considerable time since they were last at Wembley. And what a day for referee Colin Morris. Celebrates his 35th birthday here today, risen to prominence in the past 3 seasons, and the biggest game of his refereeing career, his first ever semi-final. We'll be having a word with both players, and I already know that he's already indicated to the two coaches that he wants very, very good, sensible play around the rucks, and he'll be particularly looking for offside out wide. In other words, John, I think he's keen to get a good wide running open game.
Well, I certainly hope he does, but you know, it's always a secret to these big games that you keep the sides well apart and get a good 5 yards. But right from the kick-off here, I expect to see Castleford return the kick-off. They've got a strong wind at their back, Ray, and they won't keep the ball up their end of the field for very long. So
it's Hull to kick off, 80 minutes away from Wembley for one of these two sides. Hull, a new design from the old black and white irregular hoops. As any fashion-conscious person would say, just a hint or a dash of purple around the cuffs. And the Castleford side there, St John Ellis, keen to get going in the yellow, the white and the black V. Headingley pitch in good condition, quite soft, quite a considerable amount of rain overnight. And Mr Morris just having a word there with Peter Spring. He wants He wants good discipline, and he's not happy with that high tackle. I think, John, discipline's one of the keys to these semi-finals, isn't it? I mean, you can't afford to have any players sent to the sin bin.
Well, you certainly can't afford to start the game like that. They should have been well into the Castleford half, and now Castleford have got the advantage straight away from the kick-off.
And Castleford driving in there, number 10, Keith England, former Great Britain tourist. Castleford using the two big prop forwards, Lee Crooks, number 8, the skipper. Both sides softening each other up here in midfield. Good ball to Nick Howell. That's superb run there. Superb ball there to the youngster Tony Smith, coming in the side at the last minute. Blackmore, the Kiwi, injured, but it's Castleford on the attack, looking for early points. And the 5th tackle now then. This kick could be tricky in the wind. No, Stedman does the short kick, but he's up to it, Richard Gay. I think, Alex, that the wind could play a considerable part in this game.
Yes, it's obviously a very strong wind, and obviously Castleford are going to use the ball down the field and keep open down here. But talking to Noel Cleal before the game, he was very concerned about the way that Castleford could break a team. He's got to contain Castleford, he said in the early stages.
So Hull just playing through the ball. Peter Spring, a giant Aussie prop forward from St George, a good bargain buy midway through this season. To Eastwood, seeking to kick, and we just see there the strength of that wind that's facing Hull. It's a handover. Referee Colin Morris adjudging that the ball went straight out to touch. So Castleford on the attack.
Yeah, they put themselves under a lot of pressure there. They gave away the silly penalty early, and then Eastwood couldn't kick the ball in, keep it in the field of play. So, I wouldn't be surprised if Castleford get some early points here.
Mike Ford looking for the opening, the driving run. Graham Bradley, former centre with Penrith in Australia. Ford again to Ketteridge. Ketteridge gets the ball to Nick Howe. It's a forward pass. Referee Colin Morris perfectly positioned there, just on the line to where Nick Howe, the Kiwi loose forward, a lad from Huntly in New Zealand. So scrum down, early ball. Steve McNamara. Interesting selection of McNamara at stand-off. He's a forward, John Norman, isn't he?
Well, he's usually a good running second rower, and to see that they've moved him out of the pack, it means that we can understand why that he's been able to leave out Jones out of the pack with, being able to put a second rower out at standoff.
Hull, good run there. And Hull having to run this ball out of defence. There's a strong wind facing them. That's a good kick by Eastwood, keeping it much lower, notice. Picked up there, Simon Middleton. Ex-Nottingham player last season. Stedman. Well, a full-back shouldn't really be taking the ball there. He should be letting one or two of his forwards do the work. Castleford 4 times Challenge Cup winners, Hull twice. So both sides seen Wembley, but 6 or 7 years since both of them were last there. Nick Howe injured there, a really strong tackle at the middle of his back.
Yeah, I think one of the keys to this game, Ray, is if Hull can keep the scores down early. If they don't let Castleford get away to a good start, I think we could have a very interesting game. Here we see Nick Howe take the ball in, and Sharp just goes in with the shoulder charge and puts him down, and then he comes in for a second shot. Dennett's in there too.
And I think there was a knee there in the middle of the back. Not spotted by Mr. Morris, but back into action. Castleford on the attack. Stedman using the kick, and a testing kick to Neil Turner. Strong run of this lad, 14.5 stones, 7 tries this season, Neil Turner. John Sharp, good strong runner, product of the British Colleges side. This man Sharp, some doubt over him this week. Mackie. tackling very fierce, John.
Yeah, they're really getting stuck in, but they have settled down a little bit, Hull, and they've, you know, that's just been a better 6 for them.
Mr. Morris doing very well to get in there. Peter Spring, the number 8 from St George, didn't like what happened to him. 2 very, very big packs. When we saw that Challenge Cup early on, it's interesting to remember that way back there in 1897, the average weight of the forwards was 12 stone 8. In fact, the front row for Hull there would outweigh the whole pack. And just look at that drive. I don't think Mr. Morris is going to spend too much longer on this pack. I don't think he will. Yes, a penalty. A penalty for not packing. Hooker, loose arm. Graham Southernwood, the Castleford hooker, not having his arms bound around the shoulders of the 2 Castleford crooks in England.
Yeah, well, Castleford certainly had a problem holding the weight that time, and we just saw the weight advantage of the Hull side. They really powered them off the ball.
Hull, Alex, making better use of this wind than what we thought.
Well, I think what Noel Cleal said about he wants his forwards to dominate the early stages of the game, keep the ball close. Obviously, the wind's a big factor, but if you notice, they're not afraid to take the Castleford pack on.
So Hull on the attack. Greg Mackey to Andy Dannett in the scrum cap. Just 12 yards from this Castleford line. Lee Jackson, the Great Britain hooker, likes to break from the acting half-back position. This suits Hull, driving continuously with this pack. Good ball, good tackle. Very good tackle there by Grant Anderson. But still, Mackey directing operations. Oh, he's dropped it! That was a chance. Very much a chance there. Once again, the good slip pass from Mackey. But he couldn't take it.
Yeah, Greg Mackey just gives a nice little short ball there away, and the player can't hold on. But I think the 2 halfbacks are the key to this game, Ray. I think Mike Ford and Greg Mackey, they'll control things, and you know, it'll be an interesting tussle.
Castleford coming away then with this ball. And offside. Well, Mr. Morris spoke to both coaches, Darrell van der Velde and Noel Cleal, and told him that he'd be very, very particular about offside, especially out wide. And that's a good kick. Catteridge, one of the last survivors from Castleford's last appearance at Wembley back in '86. Mike Ford, Nicow. Tawera Nicow there, the number 13 loose forward, likes to run out wide, picks up 2 or 3 tries. Bradley. Oh, Castleford throwing some loose ball about, John. They can't really afford not to use this wind, can they?
Well, they are. They've always a chance to cop up a few balls, Castleford. They've got Lee Crooks, who likes to unload in the tackle, and a couple of players there, but they've tipped their hand a little bit. They're keen to go down the blind side, and they're keen to set Nicow away down the blind side. So I think we can probably look for that this afternoon.
Again, Mr. Morris, referee from Huddersfield, was firm and demonstrative in his decisions. Paul Eastwood, again bidding for a place in the Great Britain tour, but just look at the strength of that wind. When a kicker of Paul Eastwood's strength, he's 14.5 stone, remember, can't make 5 yards. The wind really risen in force over the last 10-15 minutes. Andy Dannett again. Quick play the ball from Mackey, that's good play, can't quite get it away. And as John Money said, the battle of these halfbacks. Ford for Castleford, Mackey for Hull. McNamara, not the fastest of standoffs, but certainly a strong player. I think that told us so much about the strength of the wind, John, didn't it? That Hull couldn't even kick on the 6th tackle.
No, it's not a bad tactic to put the ball high in the air on the last tackle. It wouldn't matter how hard they kicked it. They certainly wouldn't kick it out of the ground, and a bomb is a good tactic into the wind.
I think they thought, John, that it might even go back over their own heads, though. So, well, penalty there for illegal use of the knees on the player when she's been tackled.
They've just got to stop giving away penalties in the opposition's half. They've been down there 3 times, and on 3 occasions on the first tackle, they've given Castleford a penalty to let them back over the halfway. So they're going to play the whole game on defence unless they smarten up a little bit.
Southernwood to Ketteridge, and the touch judge coming on, Mr. Tony Brown, has spotted something behind Mr. Morris's back, not the ball incident. Mr. Brown, very experienced touch judge. We've seen him quite a few times on television at some of the big games. Andy down at number 10 certainly looks fired up. And Mr. Morris wants a word with him. Mr. Morris just explaining that it was an off-the-ball incident. He wants no more of it.
Well, here's a replay. There's Andy Dennett's come in there late with the head cap on, and he stepped on the back of the player's knee. I mean, that's a silly penalty as you can give away. That's not real smart.
Yeah, deliberately stepping on the player's leg. So penalty against Dennett. Castleford trying to keep the pressure on down here now. Castleford will want to move this ball around. They'll want to get it out to their backs. 2 contrasting styles of play here. The Hood Millfield pack, and Castleford to try to play the football out wide. Southernwood, Hooker, good defence. Crooks, look for them. Well, I thought Lee Crooks was going to turn around then and the slip ball back to Naka. Stedman, the chip, no, he's got Nelson away in the corner. Oh, he's just held up there, but good cover. Just look at that man there. Prop forward Andy Dannett was across, Lee Jackson and Paul Eastwood. So the handover on the 6th tackle. Jackson coming away, relieving this Hull side. And a penalty. A penalty. Again, another high tackle. Well, certainly these 2 sides should understand what Mr. Morris is doing by now, John.
Well, the referee's the boss out there, and it doesn't matter what they think. They've just got to play to the rules a little bit more and not give away so many silly penalties. They've had a lot of pressure on Castleford because of Hull's ill discipline, and both teams need to calm down a little bit.
Lee Jackson there, an acting half-back, possibly calming both sides down a little bit, or certainly calming the Hull side down. And Mackey causing concern in the Castleford ranks whenever he has the ball. This former Aussie player. Good run there by David Ronson. McNamara deliberately keeping the ball low. That's a good kick. That's a sensible kick from McNamara. He knows he's got to keep that ball very, very low. Sends it bobbing and bobbling about. Puts Castleford right back to that line. Just approaching the 15-minute marks. Very, very tight. Castleford 0, Hull 0. Any comments from the coaches, Alex? Happy with the way things are going?
Well, I think both coaches are a little bit concerned about the number of penalties both sides are giving away. 5 for Castleford and 4 for Hull. And Hull, having this wind against them, can't afford to keep giving silly penalties away, which they seem to be doing.
And there is a long kick, a long kick. Mike Ford has to keep back 10 yards. He was in front of the kicker. The kicker not running up to follow his own kick. And there we can see John Carby, tremendous territorial advantage for Castleford, but still no points on the board.
No, like I said, Ray, I thought the key to this game was that, you know, if Hull will win the game, they had to keep the score very low in the first half. If they can achieve that, they've probably got to go into the second half as favourites.
Nidanis driving away. Jackson, good run again. 2 or 3 times we've seen this Lee Jackson come away from the acting half-back position. It's sound, sensible rugby. The short kick again. Pressure in Steadman. Good kick. Good chase. And really, Castleford skipper there, Lee Crooks, he's got to be thinking, well, how do we get over that try line? The minutes are ticking away in this first half. The use of the very, very strong wind will be holes in the second half. Prize money of £34,000 available to the winners of this final. The losers here just have to be content with 9,000. So a lot at stake. Once the wind catches the ball, John, it really does take it a long way, doesn't it?
Well, it's almost a 100-yard kick, Ray, to you know, to get from your own try like that to pin the opposition in their own 22, and it's just got to be a tactic that they've got to persist with it.
And I should think you'll be watching this wind in view of the big championship game tomorrow, Leeds and Wigan.
Yeah, well, we're on here tomorrow, but today's game's much more important. It's a Challenge Cup game, and both these sides, you know, they'll do anything to win today and get to Wembley.
And the pitch holding up very well. Considerable amount of rain in the past 48 hours here at Headingley. Sharp. It's simple tactics this, John, but effective, isn't it? 3 or 4 forward drives and a little grubber kick through, putting the pressure back on Castleford. Well,
it's a good kick, that low kick. If you can keep it underneath the wind and kick it hard and low, it'll pick you up as much ground as you can expect to get against the wind.
Bradley driving in, can't get the ball away. This is better now. Sutherland looking for the gap. A good pass there now. Simon Middleton, but a good cover. Just look again. It's that number 9, Lee Jackson. What a game he's having so far. But a penalty. Lying on at the tackle. Mr. Morris again told both coaches he wanted the players to move away very, very quickly from the tackle. Now, is this worth the kick at goal, or should Castleford keep the pressure on? Elected to keep the pressure on, put the kick to touch.
That's the second time, Ray, that they've ignored the 2 points on offer, and you know, in a big game like this, you know, I usually think even if the goal kicker hits it well and misses the goal, you still get the ball back, so you've got another chance. I usually would always take the 2 points on offer.
Certainly with a kicker as powerful as this man, Lee Crooks, but that's a good pass to Nicow. Nicow out wide again. Oh, looks for the support there. Tony Smith, the centre, doesn't find it, but it's still Castleford on the attack. Crooks again. Looks for the slip ball. Knock on. And I think Lee Crooks took Graham Steadman by surprise. 1 or 2 of this large Hull contingent, a little upset there. The referee Morris didn't allow advantage, but it's still Hull ball. Richard Gay. Hull last at Wembley back in 1985. That celebrated cup final with Wigan. Still both sides looking for the first points, as tight as one would ever expect any first half of a semi-final. Cass 0, Hull 0. Sharp. Offside. Certainly Mr. Morris very, very keen on the offside. He wants to keep both sides well apart. And that's a good movement again by Lee Jackson. To Hull now. Busby. Back inside to Harrison. Good tackle by Crooks and Ford, but it's Hull now on the attack. Mackey. to Walker. Oh, just holds the ball. But Hull now looking the more dangerous, and it's this man Mackey that's calling the tune. Can't get it away. Really, Castleford have got to get a grip of this number 7. He's doing too much around the rucks. 5 yards now from this Castleford line. Mackey again puts the little chip kick. Well taken. Dangerous kick, that, John.
Yeah, not a bad kick into the wind. You know, whether it was the right option on the fourth tackle, I don't know, but it wasn't a bad little kick into the corner. They were in with a chance.
Well, just over halfway through this first half, Alec, and surely Castleford must be disappointed with no points on the board.
Well, the problem what has been said down here, Castleford have ignored 2 goal-kicking attempts, and in semi-finals, you know, they're going to become very important. But if you notice the tactics Hull are using, they're putting Graham Steadman with the short kick and the long kick along the floor, put him under pressure, because they know if he doesn't break the tackle, he's very susceptible to make a few mistakes.
Yep. I think it's interesting too with those goal kicks, because Lee Crooks, the Castleford skipper, was the man who put the goal kicks over when Hull beat Castleford 3 times in these semi-finals, so really he should know the value of them. But time will tell. Jackson again. Good slip pass to Sharp. Oh, good play by these forwards. It's Mackey again. Has he got the pace on the outside? Now then, here's Eastwood. He's got Jackson inside him. He can't get the ball away. Oh, wonderful tackle though. Wonderful tackle by that number 11, Graham Bradley. The benefits possibly of having a centre in the second row. He had that extra yard of pace to get across and snuff out the chance. So it's Hull facing this gale force wind, but really calling the shots here at Headingley. Nickow to Ketteridge. And the roars going around this ground now. Come on, Hull. Big contingent of fans travel the M62 from Humberside, giving them their support. England, Nickow, good passing. Now then, Bradley, he saved one try. Could he not make it? No, he couldn't. Suddenly, John, the game's opened up, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a little easier to handle a ball into the wind, and I think that's why Hull have done probably a better job than moving the ball around than Castleford, but the game's starting to loosen up a little bit, and both sides are starting to find a few open spaces.
Alex, as John was saying, the open space is beginning to come there.
Well, I think you'll find out that Hull are playing the way Noel Cleal has said. We play this game until half-time, down the middle, play tight, play hard, and let's support the man with the ball. But it's interesting to note that Nickow is not in the game, and Lee Crooks is being very limited. So every time Hull have the ball, they control the game, and they're not letting Castleford allowed to run with the ball.
Eastwood. Saw him earlier in those shots of the Great Britain test against France, an Australian tourist. Hull again on the attack. Tried, trusty, bringing the wingman in here now. Neil Turner. Gannett. Good slip passing amongst this pack. Hull, ever since the war, been famed for forwards, players like Whiteley, Drake. These lads here following in that tradition. Mackey. Spring. Pounding in this lad from St George. McNamara, good switch. Oh, that's a good ball. The fifth tackle, the pressure on Castleford. Will it be the little chip? No, into the corner. Well picked up by Mike Ford. That's another 6 tackles. The kick through by the opposition. Good run by Crooks. That's It's a tremendous run by the skipper, but there's no support. Oh, where was the support? St. John Ellis was racing up, but the half-back should surely have been there. Castleford, Southernwood, and again the lack of support. And Noel Cleal, the giant Aussie Hull coach, he must be delighted at this. He almost looked like an aircraft pilot out there, John, with his earphones on.
Certainly did. It must be the latest wear for coaches, the latest in fashion for all the coaches. And notice that Nikau gets out very wide. As soon as Castleford get the ball, he certainly gets out, way out outside the centres, and maybe could be used a little bit better in tight, doing a bit of the hard work.
Certainly all the hard work coming onto these two props, the Castleford crooks in England, John. Well,
they make a few holes in them and then the support isn't there.
Hull gaining in confidence. Paul Harrison there in his first season, done very, very well. Russ Walker, ex-Barrow, Cumbrian. But still, Hull camping in here at Peter Spring. A somewhat wild pass, I think. Castleford beat Hull in the League Championship this season, 30 points to 8, but of course, cup tie football is a different thing. Anderson. If anything, John, I think Castleford are being sucked into a forward game against Hull.
Yeah, well, like I said, Ray, they're going down the middle a lot more, but it's harder to play with the wind behind your back. When you're running with the wind, it is a little harder to throw those wider passes and clear the ball quickly from the ruck. So I think in the second half we'll see Castleford use the ball a little bit more wider.
Petteridge. Forward trying to get it going, that's a good tackle. McNamara coming up very, very quickly. Crooks, surely the kick call for it is. Not the best of kicks. Hull will have the 25-yard tap. Lee Crooks there, yes, acknowledging that it wasn't the best of kicks. He was looking to slice that into the touch at the corner. Well, he doesn't look too happy, does he? And I don't think he should be with this wind at the Castleford backs. But as John Money says, it is much easier to open the ball out wider against the wind. So, we'll see. Jackson. Crossing. Obstruction. Accidentally, scrum down.
I noticed, Ray, over the few games that I've seen Hull play, they do tend to play a tighter forward game regardless of the conditions anyway, so you know, it's not surprising to see them keep the ball in very tight.
Well, a penalty adjudged by Mr. Morris for stealing the ball. A lot of controversy over this this ruling this season, introduced at the beginning of the season. Players cannot steal the ball off the opposition now, but one or two players tend to lose the ball and try to work a confidence trick. I don't think this would happen on a first tackle, would it, John?
No, I think that was a dead set pinch. I think he tried to steal the ball from the player. I think it's a good rule. I think it allows the ball players a little bit more freedom, and anybody that's a bit creative with the football, I think it's just gives them the opportunity to use their skills a little bit more.
Well, there have certainly been plenty of arguments about it, and I'm sure there will be if this 28-years-old decorator Lee Crooks puts this ball between the posts. He's a very powerful kicker, 16 stones, got a fair whack behind the ball. 86 goals already this season. None more important perhaps than this one. No, swings to the right of the post. Nothing for those Castleford fans behind the sticks to cheer about. 30 minutes gone. Castleford 0, Hull 0. Castleford, Alec, just saying to John, look as if they're being dragged in field into a forward game at the moment.
Well, I think the difference is going to be is that the way Hull are playing the game, they're keeping the game amongst the forwards and doing it the right way. They know that people like Graham Steadman only can run if they allow them to run into open spaces. Castleford are playing the wind, they're playing the conditions, and they're not finding it too easy. Hull are closing them down, and I think they're on top.
Well, plenty of time left. Forward. Crooks switching. That's better. Tendikar coming more in the middle now. Anderson can't get the ball away. Good tackling, good clamping of the ball by Harrison there.
Yeah, they're blowing a few chances, aren't they? But you know, they're trying to move the ball. They've had the good field position for most of the first half, and they're trying to move the ball when they're down there. And like I say, it'll be an interesting second half if Hull can hang on and go in at 0 all half-time.
And what a superb pass from Lee Crooks as he was going down around the man, but it's still this relentless Hull drive forward, these forwards. Peter Spring having a good game. Took some time to settle down when he first arrived at the Boulevard on Humberside, but doing the job now that Noel Cleal brought him for. That is a good kick, very good kick. Testing Steadman. Good run by Steadman now then. He's got sheer pace, this lad, but a good tackle. Still, it's a penalty surely. Yes. Yes, he was tackled. Tackled by Hull number 3, David Ronson. Now then, is Greg Mackey going to ask Paul Eastwood?
Yeah, it's a judgment call from the referee, Ray. He's got a rule here whether, when Steadman hit the ground, whether the tackler still had hold of him. The referee...
Just 5 minutes left in this first half. Anyway, Castleford can grab a vital try.
Well, I think the most important thing what's going to happen is the team talk at half-time, because Daryl van der Velde must be very, very concerned. I think Castleford have started to play panic football and they're not controlling the ball. They don't realise there's another 40 minutes to go and they're just trying to move the ball at any stage. Hull are playing it right and doing it the right way.
Certainly Hull making ground, short into passing between that man there, Mackey, and his back. Normally the fluent Castleford style, not yet apparent. But Lee Crooks driving them forward. England looks for support, he finds it. Grant Anderson, former Red Hill Amateurs, Great Britain under-21, Southernwood. He's got to get this ball out wide to Ford, he's got Nelson with him, brings him inside. Powerful runner, this former Sheffield Eagles lad, that's a good run. Little glimpse of the pace there that Castleford have out wide, and just look at that territorial advantage, and yet Hull still level on 0-0. Ex-Sheffield Eagles and Queen's Amateur Club from Leeds, David Nelson. Mr. Morris just holding the packs apart. Paul Harrison. I think some cold fingers and hands out there, John.
Yeah, I think so. You know, if I had to criticise Hull, I'd say at times they do tend to play it too tight. You know, they persist with going down the middle, and you know, sometimes they just overplay it, but they've done very well so far. But Castleford look like the team at the moment that's capable of making a break.
Ketteridge. They certainly need a break now. We come up to half-time. Forward. Nick Howe again in his favourite spot out there on left. Smith just not quite getting through there. Good tackle by the prop forward there. Peter Spring, Crooks. Lee Crooks just driving in. We're usually accustomed to see Crooks turning and slipping that ball. Again, another lost ball. Ketteridge, knock on.
Yeah, it's a knock on both ways. Castleford had the ball and knocked it on first. So it'll be a Hull feed.
Scrums all gone according to the head and feed. 5-3 to Castleford. McNamara, that's a good ball. A little bit risky perhaps in these conditions in a semi-final. Eastwood. Just 2 minutes left in this opening 40. Always been very, very tight games between these two. Had a draw before. This lad Peter Spring, the number 10 for Hull's doing very well, John.
Well, yeah, I thought he was very shaky when he started off. He gave away 2 or 3 penalties in a row, and he looked like he was all at sea in a big game like this. But since he's settled down and he's just got on with the job of playing rugby league, he looks like he can do his job really well. So if he could start his games like that, he'd certainly, prove his worth week in, week out.
So Mike Ford, number 7 for Castleford to feed. Well, did that go in or not? The ball beats the eye. St John Ellis. This whole three-quarter lineup very, very quickly on the outside, cutting Castleford's options down. I think Hull Aussie coach Noel Cleal has done a lot of work here with the video, looking at the areas that Castleford normally attack from. He's cutting them down at the moment. That's a nice little chip kick through. England's still there. He's missed it. Peter Spring's ball. Well worth the effort there by Ford.
Yeah, it was good enterprise on the, so close to half-time. This close to half-time, just a player doing something like that, it can give you the points right on half-time, which is what you need.
Jackson. Good pass. Oh, and good, strong, bullocking run there from David Ronson. Former Manly Premiership player back in '87. Spring again. What a powerful game he's having, this lad, but he's lost the ball again. In fact, 1 or 2 of these forwards on both sides, perhaps a little too eager to get the ball away at close quarters. Yes, Mr. Brown just having a word with Colin Morris. He said there was a knock-on. Yes, knock-on there by the Castleford player, Lee Crooks, querying the decision. Lee Crooks still querying the decision. Wants to know whose head and ball it is, I think. Well, it's Hull's into injury time now. Not been any, really. The hooter can't be very far away. Mackie. Good little verse, good probe by this little scrum half. 30 years of age, this Hull skipper. McNamara. Inching, edging closer to this Castleford line. Jackson again, Mackie again. How many times have we seen that? Oh, Eastwood on the outside, he's well held.
I think I'd stick a bomb up now, Ray. I think that's probably as good an option as they've got. I'd kick it as high as I possibly could.
And a penalty. He's indicating that, I think he's indicating, yes, that Mackie was tackled. Well, I don't think he was, John.
Well, I think Greg Mackey's realised that he took the wrong option too late, and if the referee ruled he was held, that's a fair enough ruling. Yeah, it's touch and go, isn't it?
Yeah. His knee was on the ground, wasn't it? And there it is. There's the hooter. It's the Hull fans who leap in the air. I'm sure that they'll be delighted with that score line at the moment, with no points on the scoreboard. Castleford 0, Hull 0, and certainly Castleford now with everything to play for.
First semi-final it is. Castleford against Hull. No score. Let's go back to Ray French.
So here we are back at Headingley again. One or two antics from one or two silly people causing just a slight delay here at Headingley. I think one of the problems being that fans like to cross over from one side to the other to watch the favourite score, and I really do think that it's about time that would stop. Greg Mackey has had a word with one or two of the fans and said, look, get back over the wall, let's get on with the game, and let's have a look who's going to get to Wembley. Castleford 0, Hull 0, and those handling errors, John, well, they surprised me, because certainly I think Castleford lost the ball in the crucial stages, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, and Hull probably tried to move the ball around a little bit more. You know, they took a few more chances, and it does surprise me as well. But as you can see, the territorial advantage that Castleford had played that game strictly in the Hull half, and in this half I can expect, I think we can expect to see Hull kicking the ball a lot more.
Yep, but as we saw in the earlier round with Leeds and St Helens, territorial advantage doesn't really count. It's who puts that ball over the try line, and either one of these sides has got to do just that. And the ball they're holding in the wind again gives us an indication of the strength of that wind and the advantage that Hull now have. I don't think any substitutes, Alex, at all.
No, there's nothing down here. Everything's quiet on the bench, but it's very concerned what's gone on in the dressing rooms. Obviously, Darren Van der Velde's a bit disappointed. His side is not at points on the board, but what he has said, what they can do, we can do. So don't be surprised if this goes right to the wire.
And Paul Eastwood using that window, and just look at the height and the length of that kick. He's a big man, 14.5 stone. Well picked up by Steadman, but of course the wind, John, as you said, should suit Castleford's handling ability.
Yeah, it will, and if one of Steadman's main strengths is that he can carry that ball back, and with the long deep kicks he gets an opportunity to have a run at the opposition, and he's got a very good step, and he's a very good player, so I'd say he'd be a dangerous player in this half.
30 tries. Good. I thought that Graham Bradley had passed that ball. St John Ellis not had any running chances, but certainly a strong lad if he could get near that line. Difficult to put down. Play on, says referee Morris. Good tackle by Bradley. Good play. Difficult time here for Hull now. They've done so well in this first half. That's a dropout. Tackled over the line. Good support play there from the prop, Keith England, number 10.
Yeah, player tried to run the ball out of dummy half, and Bradley's picked him up and got him high, and they've forced him back in goal. So here's another opportunity for a long run back by Steadman.
It is a long kick. And notice how quickly Graham Steadman's breaking into his stride. He wants to gain ground very, very quickly before the Hull defenders can get there. He does do. He gets about 25 yards. Nelson. Oh, tremendous crunching tackle there from Andy Dannett. Southernwood caught in 2 minds. Yatin half back here, you've got to be very, very quick to get that ball away. Crooks. Castleford opening out better here now. Ford again. Tried the sidestep. Crooks. Puts the kick in. Picked up well by Gay.
Real well, have they, Ray? Hull they've come out and they're a little bit slow to get going.
The defence from Castleford seems very, very strong. They're moving in very, very quickly. Busby, yes. Yes, Greg Mackey kicked the ball and instinctively Lee Jackson bent down to pick it up. A nod of appreciation there. Correct decision from the referee.
Yeah, they overreact on the 6th tackle there, and Lee Jackson gets out of dummy half, and he's got good speed, takes off, he goes for the kick ahead here with Steadman to beat, and Mackey towed the ball ahead. Jackson was in front, so it's a fair penalty.
Castleford then, back in control. Still Hull 0, Castleford 0. Nick Howe, a little closer to the play this half. Ford did well to retrieve that. Nick Howe. Oh, good play by Crooks. He's still got it now to Nick Howe. Ellis just can't take it. On the floor. Good high-speed handling there, and St John Ellis knows it was the knock-on.
Yeah, it was good play, it was good enterprise. Nick Howe kept the ball alive. Lee Crooks went for a bit of a speculator there, got a great ball away. Nick Howe, his ball on to St John Ellis, and the ball's been put down again.
Hull tried and tested using the forwards. Busby, Dean Busby, good youngster, local lad, Hull schools. John Sharp. One or two of these back row men for Hull have been injured recently, John. Perhaps the pace might tell.
Yeah, you know, I don't think it should be telling at this stage. I think they've just got to settle down, Hull, and you know, try and play out their 6 tackles.
Good long kick by Eastwood. Up here at Headingley. Good dummy from Southernwood. And the other dummy. Roars of the Hull song, Old Faithful, ringing around this Headingley ground, urging the Humbersiders on. Crooks again. Good ball from Crooks. Superb handling, but the third man isn't there. Lee Crooks beginning to get the ball away. And the penalty. Referee Colin Morris adjudging that Steve McNamara interfered with the tackle player, Keith England. And again, so difficult to go for goal. Steadman trying to take them by surprise. Doesn't take Jackson though. Betteridge. One of the few Castleford players with the experience of Wembley. Again, another vital ball loss in the crucial position, 10 yards from the Hull line, and a penalty again. Alex, you were speaking to the referee, Colin Morris, beforehand. He said he would be very, very strict around the rucks.
He's very concerned that he doesn't want this game to boil over. I had a word with him at half-time, and he said he's kept a tight rein on it. But Lee Crooks seems to be losing his cool a little bit. He's questioning every decision of Colin Morris, and he won't have that. But I think what's going on now is I'm very surprised either one of these teams have not tried a drop goal, because I think they need something to break the deadlock.
As if it's Peter Spring, the lad from Illawarra, but of course represented St George, and that looks a nasty cut. Well, surely he will have to go off to the sin bin, or the blood bin as we refer to it now, or possibly they're just treating him here before he goes off the field.
I think Lee Crooks has tried to pick up the tempo on the Castleford side. I noticed in the last set of 6 he's taken the ball up 2 and 3 times, and he's slipped a couple of balls away, and you know, he's starting to look fairly dangerous. both benches are getting a little bit anxious. They're warming their subs up, and you know, a guy like John Joyner, if he came into this game, might be able to slip the pass that breaks the game open.
Well, Mr. Morris seems to be quite content with the strapping and the clearance of the blood. He's not to go into the blood bin, which is newly created this season. Well, at least there's no blood coming out of there. Peter Spring content to carry on. Just 10 minutes gone in the second half. Still looking for the first point, and as Alex Murphy said, why not try a drop goal? Castleford 0, Hull 0. Mackie. I really can't see any way through either defence at the moment, John.
No, they're battling away, and they've, you know, that's the first time I've seen Hull put a play on this half. But like I said, Mackie's the key on one side, and the halfback's the key on the other side, and you know, they're shutting those players down fairly well.
Fifth tackle, perhaps the use of a bomb. Yes, it is. It's a good one. It's a high win. Stedman's underneath it. Oh, he takes it superbly. Good dummy. Can't quite get away from the tackle. Good tackle from Paul Harrison, but well taken there by Stedman. Tricky win. Could have taken the ball away from him. Good steady eye. And Crooks driving in at first receiver. Steadying the game.
It's probably not a bad option on the sixth tackle, Ray. I think if they stick the ball up a little bit, you know, they might get a result.
Seems to me that we could be looking for a mistake from either side to get the first points, John.
Well, that's, you know, it's something like that. When you get a tight game like this, that could turn the whole thing around.
Gay. Oh, good run by Richard Gay. Now then, he's looking for Eastwood. Eastwood's there alongside in support. He's still got men outside him. Can he see them? No, he can't. He had three men outside him, but Paul Eastwood couldn't quite get them in his vision. But suddenly, Hull now steaming in there. Good stop from England, but not quite enough. Hull beginning to move the ball around now. It's Mackie again. Gannett to Jackson. Turner. Good ball play here from Hull now. Suddenly the pressure piling on Castleford, looking for the first score. Peter Spring. Pressure gone.
Well, I spoke before about Stedman being able to run the ball back from kicks. The Hull fullback is no slouch himself, Richard Gay. He can bring the ball back. He's got a good step and good speed, and we saw by that break that he just made.
Certainly this man is no slouch either. David Nelson, 12 tries this season. Crooks having to lead from the front, this Castleford skipper. But the tackling as hard as ever. Forward. Got half a gap, has he, to nick out? No, good cover tackle by Russ Walker, number 12 for Hull. That's a good kick from Crooks. Oh yes, excellent kick from Crooks, superbly judged. The big man driving Hull backwards. And Darryl Van der Velde, well, looking a little happier, left his seat in the stand. Sorry, Mick Morgan. Richard Gay begin to link up now, John.
Yeah, like I said, he's a lively player on his feet. He's got a good step and good speed, and you know, if the game stays at 0-0, he's the sort of player that can make a break. With Darryl Van der Velde and Mick Morgan confused me, but still the
expression on the face. Darrow looking for the first points. John Sharp. Spring. Hull forwards amazingly keeping this ball going at close quarters. 6 passes there in the space of 5 yards. But a penalty. Yeah, I think Peter Spring realised immediately what he'd done. Stedman. Any substitutions, Alec, in mind from the coaches?
Well, it looks like Darrell Van de Vel is making the first move. He's bringing young Dean Sampson on. He's a big, strong lad, and maybe he thinks now is the time to hold a tight a little bit. Maybe that Sampson can do the business.
Tatteridge driving for the line, tackled by Richard Gay. There seems to be a hint of desperation in both sides now, as they know possibly the try could open up the kick. Paul Eastwood's got it covered. Little desperation in midfield now for both tries, looking for that opening try, some frantic handling. Mickford and Dean Sampson, former Stanley Amateurs side, wanting to come on. And it's Keith England, number 10, to go off. The drop arm. Very powerful kick, 75 yards. And it's a long way to run for Nelson. Lee Jackson well up there. Sampson at offside. Yes, McNamara and Spring offside in the middle.
There's certainly been a lot of penalties in this game, Ray. I think, you know, whichever team can stop giving away so many penalties will certainly have the advantage late in the game.
Stedman linking up like Richard Gay. These two full-backs now beginning to play a prominent part in this game. Still Castleford 0, Hull 0. And as Alec Murphy said, could a drop goal actually send the side to Wembley. Mickford. Nicow. Oh, that's a good ball. He's going for the line. He's got Mickford with him. He's in for the first try. Underneath the post. Tremendous break. It was Tony Smith who sliced through to send those Castleford fans into raptures. The first break in either side's defence. And Mike Ford, the £77,000 signing from Oldham in the summer, has done the trick. His 6th try of the season. And will we see the defence is open now?
It's a quick ball that Nickow's out very wide again, and it's a great break. Looks inside. Ford took the first pass, and he stayed on his feet and backed up the play on the inside. It's a very wide ball to Nicow, out very wide again. Just moved the ball on, didn't try to break the line. Used good skills there. Mickford down the middle, down the inside where a good halfback should be. Good support play and a good try to Castleford.
And Lee Crooks with the conversion. It's there. The extra 2 point. Crooks' 87th goal of the season. Valuable 2 points. And at last, the scoreboard operator is struggled. 6 points to 0 here now for Castleford. And just look at it. I think here, Nicow, John, doesn't he just delay that pass the split second, puts him through the gap?
Well, he didn't try to break the line. He just drew the men in and slipped the ball to the support.
And that's where the halfback should be, John, isn't it?
Straight down the middle.
Yep.
Great try.
So, 20 minutes to go in this second half, and I think probably now the most exciting 20 minutes. Hull perhaps have got to open up play a little more. Ketteridge. Any change envisaged, Alex, in host tactics?
Well, I think the messages are coming thick and fast down to the bench here, but I wonder will Noel Cleal regret the not playing of Mark Jones, who sat at the side of me here. I wonder will he live to regret that in the semi-final, because it does look now as though all have got to move the ball out wide, and Mark Jones would probably be one of them lads who could be doing just that.
So, forward. Good little kick, keeps the ball moving forward, keeps the pressure on hold, keeps them going back. But the handover. And Hull doing just as I said, moving that ball out now. Steve McNamara trailing 6 points to 0. A try to Ford, the conversion to Crooks. Is he playing on? Yes, he is! Mr. Morris is out into play on! But he's not, he's having a row with Mr. Brown. Surely it was a knock-on. Neil Turner looks at him quizzically. It's significant that Neil Turner isn't questioning it too much. And I think all the Hull players know as well. It was a knock-on. Well, that almost took us by surprise, John.
Yeah, look. The referee had to make a ruling there on what he saw, and what he saw was the ball come free and a try scored.
So, touch judge Tony Brown intervening there. But it's still Hull on the attack, and it's Mackey driving this pack forward. Busby loses the ball. Looked a suspiciously high tackle. Busby still on the floor, and a penalty against Greg Mackey. I think Greg Mackey was actually pointing out the previous tackle to the referee Colin Morris. I think he was saying that it was a high tackle, and certainly Dean Busby looks to have fallen rather awkwardly, his right shoulder. But play on, says Mr. Morris. Passions really roused now in this semi-final. Crooks. None worked harder than those two props there on either side, Gannett and Crooks. Ketteridge. Bradley. Good stepping by the second row. Oh, he's got that extra yard of pace. Normally a centre back home in Australia with the Penrith Panthers. Forward, puts the kick in. It's a good ball, Ellis is chasing it. Well covered by Neil Turner. And the substitute, Dean Busby, having to leave the field after that high tackle, and Mike Dixon coming on, number 15. And I think, John, this actually, it's sad to see Busby going off, but this could be a good substitution. Dixon's a very good ball handler. We've seen him quite a few times in the past.
Yeah, he's very lively out of dummy half. He's one of those players who create something around the dummy half area, and you know, that's the way Hull play the game. They play it very tight, and a lot of forward play, so he'll probably help their attack.
Alex, any news on Dean Busby's injury?
Yes, it looks as though it's a shoulder injury. He's come off clutching his shoulder, and he looks as though he's not in too much pain, but he looks as though it's caught it right on top of the shoulder. It's probably just a little bit bruised, but he'll be all right.
Castleford on the attack. Ford now beginning to direct the operations. The kick from Nick out. Covered again by Paul Eastwood. He's had quite a lot to do as Eastwood on this right wing.
I think Castleford come out and kicked up a gear, Ray. I think they, you know, they just started the second half with a lot more enthusiasm, and they kicked, and they probably played the best field position of the second half into the wind.
McNamara. Dixon. Sharp. Tried to get the pass away, and he did do, to Jackson. A lot of passing here by Hull, but not really going anywhere. It's passing on the retreat, and in fact losing the ball. Castleford now in possession. Sampson to Crooks. Hull struggling there with possession. They've lost it quite a few times. That's a good ball from Sampson. Good substitution this by Darren van der Velde. Fresh, big forward coming on. Stedman weaving his way through. Minutes left. Castleford 6 points to 0 in the driving seat on the road to Wembley. And Crooks has an injury. He dropped on that left shoulder, that left arm. He's had a lot of problems with shoulder injuries in the past as Lee Crooks, but he dropped on that left side, the left arm, the left knee. Hull looking for a quick tap. Dixon does it, he gets it away. McNamara, he's got to move this ball. To Sharp, no.
I think he's labouring a little bit now, McNamara at 5'8". I don't, you know, he's just not showing any zip at all, and he's just struggling a little bit wide of the ruck, I think.
I think, John, that's one of the problems of having a forward in at standoff. If it comes off, it's got to come off early on, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. He was a good player there early, but I think he's just, you know, the pace is just knocking him around a little bit at the moment.
Mackie. That attempted drop goal, John.
Well, it certainly looked good off the boot, and was only from 15 yards out, so the wind certainly grabbed hold of it and thrown it away.
Dixon. Crafty little player. Stedman worked very hard in this half, brought the ball away, looked for the chances, not had many. Crooks. Castleford 4 times Challenge Cup winners, been on just 4 occasions, 1 on every trip to the Twin Towers. But lots still left possibly in this Hull side. 13 minutes left. Stedman. Well positioned there by John Sharp. Hull, John, seem to lack that extra yard of pace now at this stage in the game.
Yeah, they're starting to look a little bit pedestrian. This is one of the players that has got good pace, though, the fullback.
Richard Gay. And Sharp, but still possibly plenty of danger, plenty of life in this Hull pack.
Yeah, that's what they do best, Ray. They go down the middle best, and, you know, if...
Oh, Mackie just couldn't take it, but Nickal now, with some room, he can run this second row, but so can Russ Walker. Good cover tackle there by Walker. Nelson. Sampson. Done very well, John Sampson, since he arrived on the field.
Yeah, he's punched a few holes up the middle, which is, you know, it certainly helped Castleford get going forward.
Bradley, he's goal! He had support, but a good cover tackle again by Greg Mackie. But still Castleford on the attack. Stedman chipping through, will he get the bounce? No, and it's that man Mackie again. Miraculously got across there. Twice the Hull skipper has saved him, but has he said something to the referee? Has there been some back chats? Oh, he's indicating a punch. He's indicating a punch.
Well, it's great play from Stedman there, and it's equally brave play from Mackie. Mackie gets on up, you know, he picks the ball up in cover, and then they go on with it, but he's done something in the back play and been penalised for it. That's a, you know, it's not a real good thing from the captain of the side.
certainly nothing that we could see anyway, John. But it's obviously something that the referee, Mr. Morris, could see. So it's a penalty chance to Lee Crooks. On a normal day, this would be an easy kick to a goal kicker of Crooks' ability, but not today. Tremendous pressure in a cup semi-final. Very, very strong wind driving against him. He's got to flight it round and put sufficient strength in to really beat the force of the wind. The wind doesn't take it. He just gets it into that near side post. Another 2 points from Crooks. 8 points to 0. And does that give Castleford the breathing space now that they needed?
Yeah, he just sneaked it inside that goal, the left-hand post. There wasn't much in it.
Well, Jarl van der Velde, still the same expression, but he must be happy inside him there. 10 minutes to go. Castleford 8, Hull 0. Castleford will be wanting now to retain this ball. But still, anything can happen in 10 minutes. Hull could do, Alex, to hold themselves back in the game?
Well, this is where you find out what your coach is doing sat in the stand, because there is a little bit of concern down here that he should bring Richard Gay into the number 6 position and bring one of the forwards off, because young man Manara looks as though he's playing down the middle football, and I think Hull now need to run with the ball and keep it wide out.
Stedman, good left-footed kick. That's a bad knock-on. That's a bad knock-on.
Well, it's been one of the differences, hasn't it, in this half, that Castleford have kicked the ball very well into the wind, and they've put a lot more pressure on Hull this half, and although they've had to play against the wind, they've used it to their advantage.
Yes, Paul Harrison just couldn't quite control this, as we see the knock-on. In fact, he was beginning to move before he actually had hold of the ball. So scrum down, Mike Ford. St. John Ellis looks for the run around, goes himself. Tawera Nikau getting caught up there with Mackie. Good slip ball to Anderson, but a good tackle, equally good tackle. 4 more times in this sequence. Southernwood looks for the run around. Sampson driving in, a yard short, but I think a sensible decision there from the referee. Crossing, obstruction. Hull in possession. Sharp. Castleford tackling for their dear lives now. Minutes ticking away. Good strong run from Spring. That's a good ball. Now then, can he get away? No, he can't. Dannett. Good play. McNamara, but no one out on this right-hand side. Paul Eastwood having come inside. Hull calling on all their reserves of energy now. Good long pass from Mackie. Walker. Penalty. Referee Morris saying that Nikau stole the ball. And substitutes. Number 4, Brian Blacker, a regular centre, coming on for Harrison. As the rain sweeps in here now at Headingley. The elements very much against Castleford at this stage. The rain sweeping down, the wind blowing in their faces, but they've got the 8 points, and that's all that matters. Hull forward still driving. McNamara looking to get the ball there to Blacker. Can't do so.
No, they're just sort of getting away from what they do best, Hull. You know, they're trying to move the ball wide, and they've been playing the ball tight forward game all the game, and you know, it's just not suiting them trying to spin the ball wide. I think it's probably what they've got to do to win the game, or you know, to get across the line.
Little Dixon driving in. Good footballer, this lad can inject an extra yard of pace up front for Hull. Can Hull get themselves back into this game? Good long ball, almost the interception. The knock on, but well worth the attempt, I think, from Greg Mackey. It's desperation now, and Mackey just had to do that. And just look at the elements that these players are having to contend with. Very difficult to risk a pass like that, but it's Hull ball again from the knock-on. 6 more tackles. Mackey, 5 minutes left, trailing by 8 points to 0. A place at Wembley at stake as Hull driving to that line. Can they suddenly crack this Castleford defence for the first time in this game? John Sharp, the short ball, still going. Ryan Blacker just 2 yards short. There's a lost ball there, and it's a penalty. A penalty to Hull. So 6 more tackles. Oh, Hull had an overlap on that outside then if McNamara had passed it. The overlap has gone now, but Mackey keeps the ball going the same way. Dixon causing a few problems, this man Dixon. To Walker. Castleford defence tried and tested now. Jackson. Still Hull on the attack. Mackey, the short ball to Sharp. Keeps it good. It's Mackey again. He's got an overlap on this outside. Eastwood must be in the corner. He is. Paul Eastwood is in at the corner. He crashes into the wall. Thankfully he's saved. But with minutes to go, something for the Hull fans to shout about. And have we got a cup semi-final on our hands now as we in the closing minutes? Paul Eastwood, Great Britain wing, took the ball well and powered in at the corner. A lifeline for Hull, surely.
Yeah, it was a good little ball from Mackey here, and then he got a short ball back, doubled around the back of play, and then threw a long ball over the top to Eastwood, and he was in the corner. It's a long pass, and it's a good pass under these conditions, and Paul Eastwood certainly knew the way to the try line in the corner.
There we see Mackey gambling with the pass, but well taken by Eastwood. Just got the size and the strength to get in. Now then, has Paul Eastwood got the strength? He's certainly got the size. 14 stone 4. It's right out on the touchline, but he's got this very, very strong wind. If he can just flight it round, he'll possibly aim for that far upright and hope to swing it in. 8 points to 4. Eastwood. No, struck too low, didn't quite get a hold of it. 8 points to 4, so just the 4-minute gap. Can Hull get back into this game? Just 2 minutes of normal time to go. Castleford will want to hang on here. Possibly the most vital 2 minutes in these 26 players' careers. Hull have got to throw caution aside. They've got to move this ball about. And Castleford have got to tackle for their dear life. Stedman will be looking to kick this as long, as high and as far as he can. He does do. Tremendous kick against the wind. Now then, what would you do, John? Do Hull kick downfield to get down there, or do they try to run it?
Well, I think they've probably left it too late. You know, if they haven't been able to score in 78 minutes, I don't know whether they're going to come up with a big try in the last couple of minutes, but I suppose they've just got to go, you know, throw a little caution to the wind.
Andy Dannett. Dixon's caused problems since his arrival on this field. That's a good pass to Richard Gay. Can't get the ball away. The 5th tackle, the long kick surely from Eastwood. Oh, it was well harried. Castleford now surely will hold on to this ball. They'll play the 6 tackles out. Sampson. Strong, powerful prop forward, former Stanley Amateurs player. Castleford clinging to this ball, and there is the man of the match, Graham Bradley, the Australian from Penrith, had a good running game. Bound to be a forward, John, I think, on a day like this.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of great black-line play, but this is probably their last chance to, you know, to do something, see if they can pull the game out.
Into injury time now, seconds ticking away on the timekeeper's watches, and Hull know that. They're moving it out wide. Get it out to Brian Blacker. Blacker inside to Turner. Desperate cover tackling there now. Out on that flank for Castleford. Castleford 8 points to 4 in the lead. Hull throwing the ball from side to side to Dixon. Still going. Desperation. Hull again. Walker. Can he get the break? No, he doesn't. 2 more tackles in this sequence. Peter Spring. McNamara to Blacker. Mackey switches inside. Mackey again. And the 5th tackle. Surely the high bomb. He'll be looking for a mistake. McNamara. The kick. It's hanging in the wind. Nelson's on. Oh, Stedman's taking it perfectly. Stedman's taking it perfectly. Is that the end of Hull's chance? Nelson.
Yeah, they've had a great second half, Castleford, and they deserve the win. You know, I think they can just tighten it up now, and you know, they've had a very good second half into the wind, and they really deserve the win. They deserve to be going to Wembley.
A Mike Ford try in the 51st minute. The Crooks conversion and the Crooks penalty goal. Just that 76th minute Paul Eastwood try. And the Castleford forwards now holding the ball. The 5th tackle. Again, surely it'll be a kick as long, as far and as high upfield as Stedman can possibly get it. And again, it's a good one. 2 minutes of stoppage time. Jackson, good switch. Back to Gay. No way through. Castleford, are they at last removing their bogey side from the Challenge Cup? 3 times they've reached this stage in the 80s, only to fall at the last hurdle on every occasion to Hull. Walker, sharp. He's got Blacker outside him. Blacker, 2 to beat. Can't do it. Still 8 points to 4. Well into injury time now. Mackey. And again, I think we'll be looking for a bomb. A high kick. It's there on the corner. Oh, it's difficult. Stedman's missed it. Oh, Hull have got the ball. A yard from the line. 6 more tackles to go. Castleford hanging on. Turner driving for the line. And desperate to there's the hooter. It's all over. The Hull players didn't hear it. Certainly the Castleford players did. Neil Turner drags himself off the floor. And what a relief for Castleford at the end. Hull were throwing everything at them. The mistake by Graham Stedman. I think Lee Jackson thought the chance was there, but the hooter beat everybody. 3 times Hull have beaten Cardiff in the semi-final. On all 3 occasions that man has played a part for Hull, but now he's helped to do the trick for Castleford. And certainly a well-deserved 5th Wembley appearance for Cass. The first since defeating Hull Kingston Rovers 15-14 way back in 1986. Not the most spectacular of semi-finals, but a hard, grafting game for the forwards in this weather. Certainly, I think both teams had to beat and defy the weather conditions, John, didn't they?
Yeah, it was a good...
Well, I'm now speaking to Lee Crooks. Lee, congratulations. That was a tremendous second half.
Yeah, I'm tremendous and proud of the lads. Absolutely fantastic. You know, we kept a lot of pressure in the first half with the wind, and we created 3 clear chances, and we should have really took them, but we didn't. So we knew we had to work extra hard in the second half, and you know, the lads tackled absolutely fantastic. And we created 1 chance and we took it, and then we had to hang on.
Well, you're at Wembley now, but did you think in that first half that you blew it?
No, not really, no. We always said we had to take chances, but we were always confident in our defence. And if we tackled well, which we were doing, we always had that confidence. We just knew that if we had a chance in the second half, we had to attack it, and that's what we did.
Well, you seemed in the second half as if you stepped up a gear.
Yeah, well, we were playing against the wind, so we knew we had to raise our game that little bit extra. And obviously, you know, a tremendous effort from the lads, absolutely fantastic. A credit to the club and the town. I'm pleased with them.
Thank you very much, Lee Crooks. Thank you.
As Lee Crooks said, John, they stepped up again in the second half, didn't they?
Yeah, I thought they were very impressive in the second half. They certainly played a lot better than they did early, and you know, going into the wind, they controlled the ball a lot better. I even think they kicked the ball better into the wind in the second half, and they took their couple of chances. This is that great try where Nick Howard took the ball to the line and then unloaded without trying to bust it. Then good support play on the inside from the halfback, where a good halfback should be. He was straight down the middle and good support. Made it easier for the goal kicker, and 6-0.
So a good final in prospect against the winners of Bradford and Wigan. We'll be here on Grandstand, but 8 points to 4 for Castleford.
Yes, well done.